Okay, for this next part, I want to show you how we lay out the tesserae. So I like students to start off with a heart because then you can learn how to lay along the straight edge and then also how to do curves. So the very first thing that you do is you want to make sure that you get that edge really straight. So you grab a piece of tessera and you put the flat edge to the flat edge and just start in one spot and then lay out one piece right next to another. So there we've got flat edge to flat edge, and I'm leaving just a little bit of space for grout in between those pieces of tesserae. And the pieces can be kind of wonky. There might not be, the perfect shape, and you might have to spin it a couple times to figure out what is the best way to get it to be on the line to fit the space. So you just go around the whole heart or whatever you're making in this manner. And you can see how we're doing that outside edge. Now what happens is when you get up to this point, sometimes people use too big of pieces to go around a corner here. Or let's see, maybe I'll lay out a couple more like this to give the example better. Okay, so now let's say I've got this piece right here and someone says, oh, I'm going to put that piece right there. And then I'll put this piece right there and that piece. Might have to twist it like I said. That piece right there. But you can see here, this piece is too big to go around that corner. It goes outside of the heart. And I always say, you know that you're doing a good job when you're laying it out. If we thought of the mosaic of having a sound, right here, everything is lined up so well, we might think this sounds like whoosh, whoosh. But here, where it comes out and gets a little wonky, we can say it sounds like whoosh, kirk, kirk, kirk. And we don't want the heart to sound like kirk, kirk, kirk. We want it to sound like whoosh. So what we want to do is use smaller pieces to get right on that edge as we go around the circle. So I'm going to use a smaller piece such as this one and put that there. And then maybe this piece on its side will be good next to it. And sometimes you might have to move your paper and look around and even turn it upside down to make sure that you're getting the edge really well. So now you've done that outside edge. And now's the time to really think about what we know about negative space. Like right here, we did our outside edge. We're pretending this whole thing is filled in. And now we come around and we have a new outside edge to our mosaic. Now this is our edge. So I can just go flat edge to flat edge. The same thing that we did here. Flat edge to flat edge. Here, flat edge to flat edge. But then look how we have a negative space there. And that negative space, even though there's nothing there, it's telling us if we look at the negative space, it wants a triangle piece to go in there. So maybe we can put that pointy end in there. And then do you see how we're filling in the spaces so nicely that way? Same thing over here. This piece is asking for a triangle. We could put this piece, oh, oops, we might need to spin it. And maybe that goes in there. And then now over here, we have another flat edge. Maybe that piece would go good there. And so that's how we're going around the circle like that, but we're not skipping around. You do each piece as you go around and analyze the space. Flat edge to flat edge, flat edge to flat edge. And then you come around again now and say, oh, well, what does this require? That needs a pointy piece. And then later on, we can maybe fit in a small triangle in there. So you go around the edge and then you go around the inside edge and you just keep going around the new edge until the whole piece is finished. And that's how you lay out a mosaic. You want to listen for the whoosh and you want to make sure you're not making any kind of noises. So that is how you lay out a piece in a typical mosaic. So there'll be times when you do that. When you are laying out a tree, you'll probably be working in that manner. But we have some other options as well in our mosaic. One thing we'll have some people doing is you might be making a cloud. And if you are making a cloud, you might get something that looks like this. It's not the outline of a heart, it's the outline of a cloud. And you can see here, what I want you to do first is I want you to outline the piece. And so we've got our line here, and there's kind of two sides to these pieces. One side has a texture and glue. That's the side that you'll want to put glue on. And you want the pretty flat, shiny, nice side to go up. So I'll show you how we glue in a little bit, but for now, I just want to show you how you lay out. And so when we're outlining, we just put it right along that line like this, and we're trying to get them really straight. And as you glue, you can straighten up more, but you can see it's just laying them in a really nice line, taking your time, making everything look pretty. So that's how that goes there. Now, once you have the outline done, then you can come in and you can see we're just kind of using random different pieces and different shapes of white and pearly white tesserae. Remember, that's what we call the little pieces that go in a mosaic, our tesserae. And we're just going to take some random selections and lie them next to each other. So we'll say that we've glued down the whole outside edge, and now I'm going to come in with a square. Then I'm going to put down a circle. Then I'm going to put down a little baby circle. Maybe I'll put two on top of each other. Then maybe I'll put down that big pearly piece and another square and another circle and another square. And we don't want it to be too patterny. We want it to be kind of random. So we want to make sure we're kind of not repeating ourselves. Maybe we do something like that. And so we do the whole outside edge, just like we did for the heart, just like we did for the outlining here. And pretend now that we've gone through and we've done the whole outside edge. Then we come back and we start filling in the space again. We go, oh, maybe a little circle will go good there. Maybe a square would be cute there. Maybe we'll do another square. And then maybe 4 little guys. So that's how we fill in, and you can see how spacing is really important. There's a little bit of room for grout in between the tesserae, but everything is really nice and close together. That way we get all the nice light to shine and reflect off of the tesserae, because the grout is not shiny. The grout is just kind of a space filler to make everything really strong. So we want to make sure there's not a lot of negative space between our tesserae, just a little bit for grout. So those are a couple of different jobs you might have, gluing things down. Another opportunity you might have, oops, that's why we glue. And again, I will show you how to do that in just a minute. But another opportunity you might have is making a flower. And you can see that we always glue to the mesh and plastic, because after we're done, when it dries, we'll be able to peel the piece. It was glued down just a couple days ago, and I was able to peel that off, and we can cut around the edge and then glue this to our mosaic. That's the big community piece. So the next thing you might do is make a flower. And with a flower, you just get some plastic. Move that out of the way a little bit. You'll get plastic, you'll get some mesh, and then you'll get some tesserae. And so you might start with a little piece in the center, and you might put some big pieces going around the outside. And it's kind of hard to go around again and then put little guys, but maybe we just make a flower that's got one kind of tier. Maybe we call that one flower. Another flower starts with maybe a big one in the center and then littler ones around it. And I think this is a really good way. Starting kind of with a bigger one and putting little guys is easier than starting with a little one and then putting big guys around and then little guys again. Can get kind of messy. And this way it stays kind of nice and neat. And so that's another flower. Now the next group might come in because we are sharing projects. They might come in and add more pieces to it. You might start a flower and then the next group is going to add to it. So they might come in, or you might finish yours up even, and you can use pieces like this to look like petals. We can kind of make them go a little bit closer like that. Or maybe we need to give them a little bit more space. You have to play with space a little bit to make everything look good. I think that might be the right amount of petals. Like that. Or a whole other way is if we introduce some more color, what we might do is if we start like that, we could use some pieces like our blues here. Well, let's even look over here. It might be easier with this one. And these could become little petals coming off our flower like that. But again, we kind of have to play with spacing to make it look sort of flowery and like the petals are coming right off. So that is how we lay out the tesserae to make a flower. Now, if you're going to glue, some people will be getting bottles of glue and some might be just getting a little pile of glue to dip in. So you might get just a little plate of glue, I'll call it, and you can dip your tesserae right in it and be careful not to get it on your fingers. It's okay if you do. If you get glue on your fingers, let's see, I'll glue this over here like that. If I get glue on my fingers, it's easy to just kind of go like that and it just wipes right off, or you can kind of go like this and it'll come off. But just go like that before you pick up the next tessera, so that you don't get too messy. And you don't want glue to get all over the other tesserae. So the other thing you can do is just put some glue right on the piece of tessera and glue that. I'll make sure your bottles have more glue in it than I'm showing you right now. But that's how you do it. One thing that you may have heard in school when you were younger is dot, dot, not a lot, or dot, dot, that's a lot. And when you are gluing paper to paper, that's all you need. But we're gluing really big tiles here that we want this piece to last for years and years and years. So when you glue it, again, I'll make sure you have enough glue. You want to make sure that you have enough glue on your tessera that it's nice and goopy. Do you see how there's kind of a thick layer of glue on that? It's not just a dot. And in fact, you might, yeah, that's probably about the right amount. You just want a little dollop on there. That's probably good. So that could be the center of a piece. And then you glue down pieces to go around it. And you can see I got a little bit on the tessera right there. I can stop for a second, get the glue off of it, and clean my hands that way. So you'll have a variety of opportunities, and we'll experiment with different ways of laying down the tessera. So sometimes it might be kind of random. Sometimes you'll get to choose the order of the tesserae that you lay it out, but we'll be working in patterns, making kinds of flowers to go into our piece. Or you might be working on a big space like a heart, for instance, or like on our tree. And so you'll have to use the technique of, again, lining up edge against edge and just making sure that we're getting that outside edge really well so that we can tell it's a heart and not a cloud. And that's one reason we want to make sure our outlines and our lines are super straight so that whoever is looking at our work of art can tell what it is we are making. So I hope this part makes sense to you. I hope you'll get to experiment a little bit in class before I get there. But when I come, I'm just going to give people jobs and say, okay, this table, we're going to be flower makers. Here's our tesserae. Let's lay down a good piece in the center. Let's make sure we have a nice pieces to go around. And here you can see the spacing got a little bit off there. So we might want to take one of those pieces out. We might want to move this one over just a little bit, but we can kind of learn from that one about our spacing. So if you have any questions, you can certainly ask your instructor, ask Ms. Wise, or on Monday when I come on the 2nd, we'll definitely review some of this stuff, but hopefully you'll have a little bit of experience before I get there. So thanks for following along. We're going to have fun. Take care.